Good evening. Welcome to Channel 8 Sports and East Brunswick High School football. Hi, I'm John Meggiolaro with Jim Allinder and Phil Hill for our season opener of the 1984 season, East Brunswick against North Brunswick. And guys, this is our 11th year doing this.
Wow.
And Phil, you're getting younger every year I see you. Well, let's talk about this East Brunswick team. A lot to talk about, Jim.
Yeah, there are reasons to feel rather upbeat about this team this year. They return a lot of guys. Okay, they lose players, particularly in the backfield, but.
Right.
My sense is that it's not going to make too much difference because they do have a lot of people coming back on the line. Mm-hmm. They're big, which is a nice.
Certainly
it's a
plus.
pleasant thing for East Brunswick
Sure.
to have because going up against the GMC Red Division, which is arguably one of the best in the state, if not the best, you can get worn down if you do not have size and speed on the line. Right. So certainly with tonight's opponent, North Brunswick, which Phil will talk about. That will be something that East Brunswick will try to exploit. They do have a few injuries. I should point out defensively, Richie Whalen, who was the leading tackler last year, is out with a separated shoulder. He'll be returning soon. And then Eric Malecki, who is the starting center, is out with a ankle sprain. So two small considerations, but the boys are ready to go. Greg Colheim, the quarterback this year, he's bigger, he's stronger. Good receivers in Jay Tangway, Tim, I'm going to get this straight, Agapatosho, I hope that's it. And good runners, we'll talk about them, Quan, Sabatino, Sermonello. We'll get through all the names as the game goes on.
Sure. Jim, let me ask you, East Brunswick finished 4-5 last year. That loss in Cedarville may have left a sour taste, but new team, new year. Where's Marcus Borden at with all this?
He's mum, which is usually the case around this time of the year.
That's true.
I talked to him last night, and he would not volunteer much of anything, as well he shouldn't. You opened up by saying this was the 1984 season.
Did I? 84,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
But it doesn't make any difference. 1984, though, was the last year that East Brunswick won an opening night game.
Okay, so it's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
It's 1994, just to be sure that no one is wondering if they've been in a time warp here. Phil, we talk about North Brunswick. We saw a little bit of them last year. They made a major switch now at their quarterback position.
All right. The name is Jeremy Selheimer, and Jeremy was a big-time receiver for him last year, had 35 catches, and he's their best athlete, so they put him at quarterback this time. But they got some talent there. You hear the name of Mike Miller and Kashim Grady, two speed merchants in the backfield, which North Brunswick usually has. They're young, though. They're young. Joe Polycaster Jr., of course, coming from a tremendous football family here, is very excited about the season here. He's recruited a Columbia schoolmate of his to work the defense for him, a young man by the name of Malecki, and it should be very interesting. They know that if they're going to stay in this game, they can't make mistakes, and they got to play good defense.
How do they match up with East Brunswick, Phil, size-wise?
Size-wise, for a change, East Brunswick has, I think, size across the board more than they've ever had. North Brunswick, on the other hand, has several really big kids. One 300-pounder. Then they got a Sipot kid who's about 6'7". Matter of fact, you think it was almost Highland Park here. Sipot, Paulus Castro, some of the names on that North Brunswick team there. But a young coach, enthusiastic, and he knows he's going to have to pull out all the stops to stay in this game.
All right, it is opening of the 1994 season tonight here at East Brunswick High School. The Bears against the Raiders of North Brunswick, and we'll be back with the action in just a moment. Well, we welcome you to tonight's season opener, East Brunswick against North Brunswick. Out on the field, you see the captains for East Brunswick, Jay Tangway, number 1, and number 61, David Hagan. And North Brunswick brought their whole team out, representing the captains, I guess, for North Brunswick.
Looks like North Brunswick deferred to East Brunswick they won the toss, and East Brunswick is going to receive.
Bears are going to go on offense, and let me say, our 11th year, it's good to be back football once again.
It's great. It's great. I'm looking forward to this season, probably more so in the last couple of years because the team has so much optimism. By the way, those two kids, Dave Hagan and Jay Tangway, I had a chance to talk to them during the summer. Two nice kids. They really are perfect leaders for East Brunswick because there is a lot of youth on this team.
Sure.
Yeah, but they are very, very focused. They talked from day one about taking one, all the cliches that we talk about, one game at a time. But I really do think that if this team can stay focused on what they're doing, they can accomplish some nice things this year.
Well, they got some of the heat speed merchants back there for East Brunswick to run the ball back, some of their best athletes.
Well, they have number 14, and
Right.
that is Kohlheim,
right.
the quarterback. Tangway, number 1. And then the next line up, they have Sabatino, and he's number 33, and number 19 is David Kilkenny.
He can turn it on also.
Jimmy and Phil, as you look down on the field, in terms of size, not in terms of weight size, but in numbers, about the same for East Brunswick as in the past? Number of kids coming out?
I would say probably a little increase.
Great.
Yeah, there is definitely an increase in the numbers, and I don't know if East Brunswick had a little lull there. I talked about that a couple of times, that you wondered whether the direction of the program was headed up, or had they. But I think this is definitely an up year. What we have to watch for, though, is this GMC Red Division, which probably has, again, we said is the toughest. Saraville, Old Bridge, Piscataway, Woodbridge, Edison. I think right down the line. And then Bishop R is a new addition to the league this year.
Well, we'll certainly touch on all those things as the game progresses, but it's a beautiful September evening for this home opener.
And I'll tell you, a different type of opener for the Bears. We're used to being in foreign places for that, but it's nice to have a team that's close to home. And this is North Brunswick's initial entry into the Red Division. This is their welcome to the Red Division, and they're going to get tested well by the Bears.
Right.
The Bears are in their home green jerseys. North Brunswick in the visitors, white. East Brunswick will be moving left to right on your screen as North Brunswick breaks the huddle and is getting ready to kick it off, and we'll get this season underway. And here we go. Kick is short. Kohlheim will come up at the 16-yard line. Right up the middle, he's got some running room. And Kohlheim brings it to the 40-yard line. Good field position for East Brunswick.
Okay, and tackle by Dave McCracken, number 56 for North Brunswick.
Well, we have a stronger, taller Kohlheim this year at quarterback. You couple that with the receivers that East Brunswick has. I would like to see them come out and throw. I really would. I think they can do a nice job with the receivers.
Well, Marcus says they go 6 deep as far as receivers. And if Greg has steadied himself a little bit, they just might do that.
East Brunswick with a full house backfield. Kohlheim gives it inside. And fighting is number 44, Frank Sermonello.
Sermonello, now a junior. He played a lot as a sophomore last year. Came out as somebody to watch as a sophomore. He plays defensively as well.
Not much of a surprise. A basic dive into the line there in the middle of that North Brunswick defense, who held them to a yard.
We'll call it 2nd and 9. The ball just over the East Brunswick 40 and an official timeout.
One thing we want to watch, John, is the East Brunswick did not have its game scrimmage last week against Port Richmond of Long Island. There was a death on the Port Richmond team. So Marcus is a little concerned about the timing of this team.
Kohlheim fakes inside, keeps it, turns the corner, still has the ball on his feet.
Wow.
And
Kohlheim gets a block, and he's sprung loose to the right side.
can he get around him?
And into Raider territory.
So there you go.
Well, you talk about a stronger, quicker Kohlheim, great Kohlheim, and he showed it there.
He certainly did show it there. Kohlheim with good moves that cut in, thought he would be tackled there, showed some great strength and cutting ability and picked up substantial yardage.
First down, the ball is spotted at the North Brunswick 26-yard line. So on the second play from scrimmage, East Brunswick moves deep into North Brunswick territory.
Boy, that was all Greg Kohlheim there.
They'll stay with that wishbone backfield. Kohlheim gives inside to Sabatino. Sabatino picks up 4, maybe 5.
It's good, tough yards. But I was watching that line, Phil. They were moving people out.
Moving people out, but looking at Sabatino, I understand that he's gotten a lot better this year. Before he used to wait to pick his spots. Now he's hitting that hole about twice as fast as he did last year.
2nd and 5 from the 22-yard line of the Raiders. No scorer. We're just in the opening minutes of this game. Kohlheim looks over the defense. is going to put it up for the first time tonight. He's got Tangway in the corner. Touchdown,
wow.
East Brunswick.
I'll tell you.
Here you go.
Right on the money.
I was very impressed with Greg Holheim there, John. He was very relaxed, and he just tossed it, and it was a real good timing pattern.
I'll tell you, he set up in the pocket awful nice, and Jade with a gem of a catch. I got to give it to him there. The young fella has really developed into a fine receiver. An all-red division receiver last year, and just so awfully good soft hands right there.
Well, the Kolheim-Tangway combination just served notice.
Boy, I didn't even get a chance to look at that line.
Bears on for the extra point. Kick is down, and it's good, so the Bears go on top. 7-0, the extra point by Chris Beatties.
I think that's Justin Klein, no?
Yes, Justin Klein. That was Beatties that was holding.
Okay.
But anyway.
They must have changed their jerseys.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
All right, Justin Klein, if that's correct, a 6'2", 150-pound junior.
And again, going back to that play there, Kolheim does, it's only the first real action play of the game. Kolheim looked rather steady, put the ball up there nicely. Jay Tangway running under it very nicely, and as I said, very soft hands and sure hands took it in.
Well, as long as we have a quick moment here, I will just recount the offensive line that did a rather nice job there. 61 Hagan, of course, the captain we talked about. 68 Joe Iannone was in there. 72 Jeremy Fisher, and number 77 Jim Oliver was playing. And also a sophomore filling in for Eric Malecki, Adam Greenhut.
Tangway will kick off for the Bears. Back deep for North Brunswick is number 6, and that is Kashim Grady, and number 3, Tamir Hall. Tangway gets a good kick. This is going to be Hall from the 15. Ducks his head and is met by a host of East Brunswick tacklers as he crosses the 25.
Nice job. The emergence of the Jesse James gang again.
Well, they're supposed to come back this year, the special teams, of course, but Hall seemed to put his head down prematurely.
Well, Jeremy Seilheimer, who was a receiver last year, takes over the reins as quarterback for the Raiders. He's number 12.
They run the pro set, basically an I formation, and it'd be interesting to see what they do.
All right, with the increased numbers on the East Brunswick team, you're going to see a lot of players going one way, so this is a fresh defense.
Well, they split into that I formation. Man in motion. As Seilheimer calls the signals, gives it to Grady.
Wow.
And we have a foot race going on. Grady across into East Brunswick territory.
Fortunate a flag wasn't thrown there. That tackle was way out of bounds.
Kashim Grady talked about him at the top of the game, that he is a speed merchant, and you can't let him get a step on you. Talked to Nick Spadafino and said that, questioned him about big plays. East Brunswick being beaten on big plays. He says it's usually just a missed assignment here and there. Not so much that it's a big play by the other team, but a missed assignment by us.
And that certainly looked like that happened right there. There was over-aggressiveness on East Brunswick's defense.
Grady again sidesteps one tackler and gets back to the line of scrimmage for no gain, but Grady took it from his own 26-yard line, brought it to the East Brunswick 40.
And Lenny May leading the tackle there, and you can expect to hear his name an awful lot tonight. Lenny May, the nose guard, and as tough as they come.
All right, let's look at the rest of that defense for East Brunswick. It'll be Dave Hagan, again, Lenny May, Sean Daly, Paul Dumas, Jeremy Fisher, Dan Larazzo. We'll pick it up.
Seilheimer calling signal, split backfield. Short drop, looks inside, he's got his man Miller, and he'll pick up 5 yards.
And Dave Kilkenny with a picture book tackle. That's just the way they teach you. Put the shoulder in, wrap and drive, and that's exactly what he did, and drew a rise from the crowd.
The pickup will be of 6 yards, and it'll give the Raiders a 3rd and about 4.
To finish off the defense, Chris Beatties, Dan Larazzo. We mentioned Dave Kilkenny that made that tackle. Whalen, of course, is not playing tonight. And in for him, I believe, is number 2 for East Brunswick, and that's Ted Wright.
North Brunswick, third down, ball on the East Brunswick 34. Miller to the left. Put a man in the wing and now put him in motion. Salheimer rolls to his right, is looking for Grady on a little swing pass, not there.
Nobody there.
Good defensive play by East Brunswick. They kind of bumped Grady out of the pattern.
I imagine they'll go for it on this 4th down. They're deep enough in East Brunswick's territory.
I think you might be right, Jim.
It'll bring 4th and 4.
Now, East Brunswick has a lot of speed on the line.
Well, they look like they're going to punt.
Kolheim will go back deep for East Brunswick, and they will punt.
There's a flag thrown.
We may have a delay of game here.
That's probably what it is. 25-second clock. So they're going to bring him back 5 yards. I was talking to Marcus Borden, and we were just to allude to that Port Richmond scrimmage. There was an accident on the Port Richmond team. A player was killed in an auto accident. Some others were injured. So the game was canceled, and Marcus really bemoaned the fact that he wasn't able to get his team into a game-type scrimmage, and things like this 25-second clock is something that they have to learn to play. But North Brunswick got stabbed that time.
Well, they'll move it back 5, and they'll move back into punt formation. Again, Kolheim back as the single threat back there for the Bears. Low snap, ball bounces, kick is away. Kolheim will let it bounce, and now he'll pick it up at the 10, and will step out just short of the 20-yard line.
It's a good heads-up play by Greg. He got an extra 10 yards by picking that ball up.
So the Bears will go on offense for the second time this evening, having scored on their first possession and leading in the game 7-0.
And it'd be interesting to see if the North Brunswick makes any adjustment to give their defense some help on Jay Tangway out there one-on-one.
Well, then you got Ajika Batosho on the other side, who is himself a threat. Boy, has he gotten tall.
We have 7:26 remaining first quarter.
And now they're both on the same side.
Kolheim puts 2 receivers to the left, pivots, keeps the ball, and that may have been a broken play.
It appeared that it might be, John. One of the things, if this E-Bone's going to be successful this year, it's going to depend a lot on Greg Kolheim's read. It's more than just action plays. He's got to read from his quarterback position and make the right decisions.
It'll be 2nd and, let's say, 9 from the 21. Tangway goes wide left. Kolheim on the second back. Sabatino nowhere to go. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and probably a passing situation for East Brunswick.
And already Kolheim was a little slow getting up there, and that's one thing we have to be concerned about.
Well, that was actually a keep by Kolheim there, and I think when you're in control of the slots there, you get the call, and you're in charge of the reads, you get to make the decisions yourself there. And of course, a correct read is a correct read, but Marcus may talk to him about keeping it so much. With his speed, you don't mind the ball in his hands, but you don't want him taking too many shots neither.
Well, it's an obvious passing situation.
3rd and 8 from their own 22. Clock shows inside of 6 minutes left first quarter. Bears on top 7-0. Kolheim keeps, looks downfield, throws outside and misses Sabatino. Pass was behind him. So the Bears will be forced to punt.
And Sabatino right at the 1st down mark, sort of lost his footing on the play there, but the ball was thrown to the outside. And the Raiders have held.
And should get the ball in fairly decent field position, too.
Grady and Seilheimer will go back deep for North Brunswick. Punting for East Brunswick, number 87. That's Keith Figaro.
Whoops.
And Sabatino a little late getting on the field.
Well, again, these are these things that the team has to get at.
Figaro, nice punt.
Sure was.
Grady slips a little bit, drops the ball.
I'll tell you.
And is able to recover just short of midfield.
And Lenny May right there to make sure that he did.
So the Raiders will take it over 1st and 10 at their own 49-yard line.
And we haven't seen the Raiders really go to the air much.
Just that one pass completion for 8 yards.
Exactly. So you might see them try to do something a little bit different here. Of course, you want to get your offense going, and they haven't been able to do that in the first 2 series.
Seilheimer calling signals. Gives it to Grady. Grady fighting his way for a yard. And Phil, I mean, as good as that young back is, you can't give him the ball every play.
You can't give him the ball every play, particularly if he's the main man there.
Sean Daly was the first one to hit him.
Well, you got Sean Daly and once again Lenny May there as well as Dan Lorenzo.
Right.
They give Grady one, so let's call it 2nd and 9. Ball right at the midfield mark. 5 minutes remaining, first quarter. Bears on top, 7-0. Seilheimer throws. Miller's got it. And Phil, they seem content with that little hook pattern.
That little hook pattern. I tell you, Dave Kilkenny, you got to like the way he's playing. Coming up awfully fast and being aggressive. That's what you want in your cornerbacks.
And you watch Kilkenny, he might start creeping up a little bit too.
Well, he might start creeping up, and if they're smart to take advantage of it, a down, out, and up. He's coming up awfully quick, so North Brunswick sees that. They might want to take advantage of it. Suck him into the sideline and send something down the field.
Pickup of 6 makes it 3rd and 3. Ball in East Brunswick territory, resting at the 45-yard line. North Brunswick switches to the I formation. Seilheimer puts it up in the air, and that was for picking.
And once again, Kilkenny right there to get his hands on the ball.
As was right. They just could have said, I've got it, and they would have had an interception.
And I tell you, fine defensive effort by the Bears there.
So North Brunswick will be forced to punt on their second possession. And this will be their second punt of the evening.
Well, this time Tangway's back.
Tangway and Kohlheimer back now for East Brunswick.
Whoops.
Kick is a little short, and Kohlheimer will let it roll out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line, and the Bears will take over.
Okay, again, a good decision by Kohlheim. This time to let the ball go.
So we see a couple of new faces coming out for East Brunswick. You know, I think we should point out it is a beautiful night, but it is rather humid, and about 78 degrees or so. And we'll see how well conditioned these teams are. This is going to take a lot out of them.
1st and 10 for East Brunswick from their own 24.
I see Bill Belsky has entered the game now for East Brunswick, 6'1", 215.
Kohlheim takes a moment, looks things over. Fugaro goes to the right. Tangway and Aji. And there goes Sabatino up the middle. I'm sorry, it's number 44, Sermonello. And he's got the first down.
Okay. Did they call timeout?
I believe North Brunswick did, yes.
Frank Sermonello, 5'8", 173 pounds, and just blowing through there.
It's an unusual timeout.
Well, North Brunswick calling the timeout here, and that's probably the defensive coordinator out there. I mistakenly called him Malecki, and of course that's not his name. His name is Mark Zelensky, and he played with Joe Polocastro at Columbia, and Polocastro was terribly excited about getting this young fellow over to handle his 4-3 defense. Right now they're having a little trouble, and they're trying to make some adjustments there.
Now we have a timeout on a field called by North Brunswick, and so with this timeout, 3:46 remaining in the first quarter, it's good to see, Jim and Phil, the size of that East Brunswick line, the mobility, and or the skills of some of the skilled players, if you will.
I'll tell you, a lot of that's through hard work. We've been bemoaning the fact for years that East Brunswick just doesn't have the size, and what they did this year, they do have more size than the past, but they also worked a lot harder.
1st and 10, the Bears from their own 37 after Sermonello's first down. Kohlheim gives it inside, keeps it, and is thrown for a loss, and he better hold on to that ball.
I believe that's Saipot, is it not, Phil?
That is the big man, Big Saipot.
Sophomore.
There. And
Frank Saipot is his father.
I tell you,
boy, that's a name out of the past.
That's a real solid name out of the past.
Yeah.
Again, I think a poor read. My guess, a poor read there by Kohlheim. Appeared that he should have handed the ball up there. It appeared to be a nice hole there. He decided to keep it. Was thrown for a loss. All that will come with time.
And I think it goes back to what Jimmy said, not having that game scrimmage. Timing is off just a bit. 2nd and 15, a loss of 5 by Kolheim. Ball back down to the East Brunswick 33-yard line. 2 receivers to the right. Kolheim rolls that way, plants, looks. He's going to pull it down and go.
Look at that speed. He's by Graves.
It's a foot race now.
I'll tell you,
Solheim knocked out of bounds. Kolheim knocked out of bounds by Seilheimer.
Kolheim, I get it, John, but a nice run by the young man. Again, Greg sort of made up his mind to run. I thought prematurely because he did have one guy open there. Turned out to be a very good decision.
And a very big play for East Brunswick.
That run was good for 40 yards. And already Greg Kolheim is nearing the 100-yard mark in rushing.
What I meant to say was Kolheim was taken out of bounds by Seilheimer. If you follow that, you're doing better than I am. Anyway, it's a first down for East Brunswick on the 22-yard line of the Raiders. East Brunswick threatening to score again. Kolheim fakes inside, gives it. Sermonello, he'll get to the 20 and maybe the 19.
Gang tackled.
I'll tell you, just a fine mixture by the Bears here. It's sort of having the Raiders off balance here. They got mixed in a little passing here. Kolheim handing off, Kolheim keeping, and right now they got the Raiders guessing.
And what appeared to not be a big hole, Sermonello got 4 yards out of that. So that talks a little bit about the surge that the East Brunswick line is maintaining.
Ball at the Raiders 19. 2nd down and about 6. And we're going to have an official's timeout. And we have an equipment problem with one of the North Brunswick players.
And you look at the officials, that's an all South River crew out there. And just to run down some of the names, the referee is John O'Neill, umpire the famous Red Lozowitz, lineman Kenny Smutko, line judge, a young man I played ball with, Alex Bagmary. The back judge is Mike Dominicus, and the clock operator, Chet Zdrowski.
I have to ask you, is that good or bad?
Kolheim in the pocket, looks. He's got his man, Tangway, pulls it down. First down at the 5-yard line.
Sure-handed catch by Jay Tangway. And that was a rifle of a shot. And one of the criticisms that they often laid on Kolheim was that he overthrew. That ball was laid up there nice.
One of the criticisms is that he rushed it. Things too much. He squared up, set up, and just delivered a nice line drive there. And again, Jay Tangway is probably going to be a sure-handed receiver as you're going to see all year.
Phil, we've seen it for years and years. The key for quarterbacks, not the arm as much as planting those feet.
That's right.
1st and goal from the Bears. They're knocking at the 5-yard line. Kolheim to Sermonello. He's got room. He's in. Touchdown, East Brunswick.
He found a hole there.
And I'll tell you, give that touchdown to the guys up front, Hagen and the rest of those offensive linemen, because right now they're blowing North Brunswick off the line.
And that drive that we just saw there was an execution of passing, running. North Brunswick was totally confused on that.
Sermonello score makes it East Brunswick 13, North Brunswick nothing. And East Brunswick will go for the extra point.
You're right, John. Number 26 is your kicker.
And that's Chris Beatties, or Beatties. Snap is down, the kick is up and through. And it makes it 14-0.
I'll tell you, we don't give him credit when he's right too often. Both of us called number 10 as the kicker. I don't know how we saw that, and John was giving us that look like.
First game, I thought I'd cut you guys some slack.
Nonetheless, boy, I'll tell you what, first quarter's not even over, and East Brunswick has 14 points.
No, we have 1:27 left, and you got to like what you're seeing. And quite honestly, it's been some time since we've seen this offensive firepower.
It's been a long time. Long time. I think you have to go back to the Brian Forte days when they used to, when Brian used to hit the airways, but so far, Kolheim is 2 for 3. Both catches are to Jay Tangway. One for 26 yards, one for 16 yards.
Well, John, I want to tell you one good thing that happened as a result of that missed scrimmage that East Brunswick wasn't able to have. Because they didn't scrimmage that day, they were able to take the team over to North Brunswick to see North Brunswick scrimmage. And they got to see what these guys were about. So I think that's certainly an advantage for them.
All right, Tangway to kick it off. Miller and Grady back deep for the Raiders. And we're still in the first quarter. Bears on top, 14-0.
All right, they're waiting to fix an equipment.
Miller having a little problem with his chin strap. Tangway, good kick again. Miller at about the 10-yard line, looking for some running room.
He's
and
wrapped
is
nice.
taken down at the 24-yard line.
I believe that was Teddy Wright, number 2, that was in on that tackle.
Well, Phil, you mentioned North Brunswick's first year officially into the GMC Red, and I think they're wondering whether this is where they want to be.
It's going to be a tough time for them to step up like that into the Red Division. Talk to Joe Policastro Jr. He didn't seem very concerned about it. He did say, we want to play the best. In order to get better, we got to play the best. But it's going to be an awful tough step to move up to the Red Division. I'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Seilheimer brings them out. They're down 14-0. Grady, the lone setback. Grady once again trying to go to his left, nowhere to go.
What a great reaction by the East Brunswick's right side of the defense. They just converged on Graves.
Well, you had there Sean Daly and Steve German.
Phil, you mentioned Mike Miller at the top of the show, and he's been more in the slot back, wing back kind of position. He's yet to touch the ball.
You got to wonder if he's hurt or something because you're right. They really haven't given it to him.
So now they have, I'm sorry, I thought that was Grady flank left.
Pitch to Grady to the right side this time. Has a little bit more running room.
Okay.
But he gets up close to the 30.
Well, what happened there, Grady comes up there, gets through the hold and whatnot, and puts his head down ready to make contact, rather than looking to shift and bounce to the outside. Still had some running room.
So now you have a situation where that's the end of the quarter.
So that's the end of one here at East Brunswick High School. The Bears on top, 14-0.
And North Brunswick will be faced with a third and looks to be about 5 yards to go for a first down. But the thing is, the Bears now know this is a passing situation. They're familiar somewhat with the quarterback, the way he throws. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like we see Kilkenny maybe taking a chance or so.
Maybe so. I'll tell you this, we talked about the Red Division moving up to it. Joe Policastro Jr. mentioned that some of the best players last year were from the smaller schools like Derek Carter from Donnell, and he's right. I went to see the Snapple Bowl, and some of the better players were kids from the smaller school. But when you get up to a division like the Red Division, it's about depth. It's about the numbers that you have to keep coming at you. And he's going to find that out much sooner rather than later.
And so will Bishop Bar coach Tony Ascentino.
I have a feeling Bishop Bar coach is going to fare a lot better, though.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to have quite a better adjustment to the Red Division than North Brunswick certainly will.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Phil, that the Red Division, if you look at the lineup of teams, first of all, Saraville is the preseason favorite and is ranked, according to the Associated Press, as the 6th best team in the state. So that's something to say. And they are loaded. They have a lot of players back.
The 6th best team in the state may get beat tonight, from what I understand.
That's right, because they're playing none other than Piscataway.
Right,
we talked about that before the game. And Piscataway, year in, year out, has excellent personnel, followed by which the combined Cedar Ridge and Madison Central teams. Old Bridge now, a lot of people are touting them as one of the best teams in the state. Defending Central Jersey Group 4 champion Woodbridge is in the mix. Edison has always been tough. Jerry Janczek takes over there, by the way, former East Brunswick assistant.
Yeah. Here we go, Seilheimer to start this second quarter. Has Grady in the backfield. Seilheimer puts it up, has it tipped at the line, still caught. Well, and I think that was number 5, that is, and that's Frank Fusaro.
And he's going to get the first down, but I'll tell you what, you saw there was an East Brunswick defender standing in the way, and he almost got it.
Okay, just a fine play for the Raiders, a much-needed play there. They need to get something clicking here and take whatever the Bears are giving to them.
They do pick up the first down, and the ball's resting at their own 35 as we start this second quarter. They trail 14-0 and really have shown little offense up to this point in time. They put 2 and timeout. Seilheimer wants a timeout.
And that is second timeout for North Brunswick.
And I'll tell you, you take a look out in the field there, and I think that is the young Joe Policastro Jr. And I'll tell you, gentlemen, you might think being Joe Policastro Jr. and coming from the great Paulo Castro family. As cousin Richie, a fine quarterback for Rutgers University. You might think his family may have had most of his influence to come into the coaching ranks, but he says not so. Not so. He said he didn't think about it. A guy by the name of Tim Garrett, who has a couple of sons that play play ball for Princeton and so forth, and another guy by the name of Rod Perry, who's the secondary coach for Seattle Seahawks. Both coached at Columbia, and they are the ones that influenced him to get into the coaching ranks.
Well, there's something to say about the small schools, and not that North Brunswick is a small school anymore, but the family, of course, the tradition is from Highland Park.
That's right.
But you mentioned about some of the best players coming from small schools. I think we should point out that the Associated Press also named its top 10 prospects, and quarterback for Spotswood, Charlie Eibler, is listed as the best quarterback prospect in the state.
That's very, very interesting.
That's interesting, and don't raise your eyebrows on that, guys, because he's great.
Well, I got to see him. I got to see him then.
I saw him, and
okay,
we'll see.
I know it's a big step.
Being small in stature, I like that little guy from South River, quite honestly. Anyways, 1st and 10 for North Brunswick. After that timeout, Miller goes in motion, pitch back. Solheim gets it to Grady, and he is stuffed back there.
I'll tell you, a swarmy defense there.
Led by number 50, Paul Dumas. The outside linebacker smelled that out, and the rest of the team did the job.
Dumas picking up where he left off last year. We saw him coming on as one of the better linebackers around, and he showed it right there. You're right, Jim. He was the first one there, and the others just swarmed him under.
And you see him facing, well, you don't see him on our camera right now, but number 50 looking for signals. I'll tell you what, 5'9", but 192 solid pounds. He's been in the weight room.
So that loss drops North Brunswick back to their own 31, and they're facing a 2nd and 14. Miller goes in motion. Grady this time to his right. He still has nowhere to go. Flag is thrown, however.
And once again, Lenny May getting up off the bottom of the pile, and Lenny May is having a whale of a day.
Flag is a clip against North Brunswick, or blocking below the waist.
Boy, I'd like to see that one. I didn't see a blocker in sight. Did you,
Must
Phil?
have developed very quickly.
Yeah.
And East Brunswick now will have the option to either accept or reject it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they rejected it. Boy, I'll tell you what, that defense looks outstanding tonight.
Looking at Marcus Borden, he's saying no. No, they changed their mind on the sideline. They'll move him back.
Let's move him back some.
Well, you hold them and then you get a punt.
Well,
that's what you're thinking about.
You talk. It's about giving them another down or not. Move them back.
And that's what they're going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we came here, it was about 15 minutes before game time, and I was wondering where the crowd was. They're here now.
It's a nice crowd.
Sure is. And I'll tell you what, the Bears will be hosting Perth Amboy next week, and there should be a fine crowd for that one.
Joe Stinson and company, and they tell me he's got his troops ready.
Quarterback Ali Hoover, also being touted as one of the best players.
North Brunswick facing a 2nd and 29 now from their own 15 after the penalty. And it's Grady one more time.
Wow.
Good hard hits.
And Grady gets to the line of scrimmage and then is plastered.
Not only is East Brunswick's defense reacting, but they are hitting hard. And I'll tell you what, that has a tendency to get a team down real quick.
And I can't be sure, but I think Jeremy Fisher may have had the first hit on there. And then the rest of the team followed. Just a good, solid.
Well, now if you're Paul Kessler Jr., Phil, what do you call? 3rd and 27 from your own 17.
We haven't seen Mr. Convery yet. His wide receiver pull one in.
Well, and a timeout.
Wow, and I think that's
official's timeout. And I don't know what Grady is talking to the official on the sideline. I think he was saying that his equipment needs repair.
Now, is this a charged timeout to North Brunswick?
It seems to be an official timeout, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to look at the staff for East Brunswick's football team this year, we're all familiar with Nick Spadafino, who will be back as the defensive coordinator. Tony Toto, offensive coordinator. Harry Morris, of course, is back to head the offensive line. Bill Pellegrino is coaching the defensive backs. Don Sulfakonic, defensive line. Bill McDougall is the freshman coach. Keith Lane, freshman. And Glenn Pazinko is also a freshman coach.
Seilheimer drops
and
is sacked.
Wow.
They got him.
He took 2 steps, and that was it.
That was a blitz there by number 40. Number 40 for East Brunswick, Dan
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
Was that Lorenzo?
Yes, it was.
Gerber Vac was there as well.
Yeah, Lorenzo is listed as an outside linebacker. He's kind of like a monster.
And North Brunswick quickly moving their punt team on the field.
Bears are ready, though.
Kohlheim and Tangway are back. Kick is low. Fair catch by Kohlheim at the 40-yard line. And Bears with excellent field position as they go on offense for the first time in this second quarter, and they leading 14-0.
I'll tell you, that's why you have your veterans back there. You have your shorthand people back there, but veterans back there as well to make the proper decisions in situations like that.
Well, East Brunswick has struck from a distance. They have struck from inside their own on a 5-yard run. North Brunswick has to be prepared for anything, and that's what makes East Brunswick dangerous now.
I think you're going to see Aji Patosho maybe fly on one here.
That's he to the left, number 21, Tangway to the right.
North Brunswick is really spread out.
Kohlheim keeps, turns the corner.
Oh!
Wow, look at that misdirection.
One man for North Brunswick. Kohlheim still on his feet, taken out just short of the 5-yard line.
And that's without getting a much-needed block there by a young player. I won't call his number, but you'll see it on the films there. He didn't pick up a block, and Kohlheim still picked up that good yardage there.
32-yard run for Greg Kohlheim.
First down, East Brunswick. Ball was spotted. They say Kohlheim went out on the 8-yard line. First and goal for the Bears.
That's 108 yards unofficially for Greg Kohlheim.
All right, they're ready to go now. Inside is Sermonello, and he gets down to about the 2-yard line.
That's that same play, Phil, where he scored on.
Right up the belly there, and the young man, Frank Sermonello, keeps those legs turning. And almost took it in, just a yard short.
Got himself 7 yards on that play.
So the ball will be at the North Brunswick 2-yard line, second down. And East Brunswick pretty much having their way on offense tonight, at least thus far. We have 8:15 remaining in the second quarter. East Brunswick looking for their third score of the evening. Sermonello one more time, just short of the goal.
Just barely denied. Good job by the Raider defense there. The hole opened up, but closed up rather quickly, and just about an inch away from the goal line. Well, maybe
ball spotted on the half-yard line.
So we see Tangway inserted into the game. He's going to go wide left, but I have to think they're going to be running this.
Well, they got Sabatino and Sermonello in the backfield. Sermonello in.
And he's in.
Standing up.
And his second touchdown of the evening makes it East Brunswick 20, North Brunswick nothing.
And Sermonello, I believe, had just 4 touchdowns, 4 or 5 touchdowns last year, so he's well on his way.
He's halfway there now. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm wondering whether or not this is the resurgence of the East Brunswick team, or is North Brunswick down and out?
Well, I think you've seen enough football there. It's still early.
Beatty's on for the extra point. Good snap and a good kick. This young man's 3 for 3 tonight. Makes it 21-0 East Brunswick with 7:30 to go before halftime.
And East Brunswick has fashioned a 21-0 lead by doing everything, including the running of quarterback Greg Kohlheim, who had a 32-yard run to highlight that short drive by East Brunswick. He now has 108 yards rushing, 2 for 3. Both passes connected to Jay Tangway. Sermonello is chipped in with, I believe he has 7 carries for about 30 yards. Not a bad show so far, guys.
Not a bad show at all, and I certainly don't want to say anything to diminish the performance that the Bears have put on here, Jim, but if you're asking the question, what does it mean? Are they that solid? Are they that powerful? Or is North Brunswick maybe not up to snuff right here? I think rather than answer it, I think what we got to do is just wait and see a few games. We'll find out very shortly.
Right, and then the question that I'm already starting to develop in my mind is Perth Amboy going to bring us closer to that answer? So we'll have to wait and see. This is the first game of the year. Everybody comes out with a clean slate. We're going to keep our eyes on the Piscataway-Saraville game. and see how that one fleshes out.
All right, Tangway will kick it off for the 3rd time tonight. Grady and Hall back deep. Good kick once again. It's going to be Grady at the 12-yard line. He's got a hole. He's got some running room.
Closed up quick, though.
Got to the 30, and that's where he'll be stopped.
Kilkenny, again, was the first one to hit him.
I'll tell you, he's being rather aggressive tonight. I'll tell you, the North Brunswick runners, though, ready to put their heads down, waiting for a hit rather than trying to get that extra step to get to the outside and fly.
You know, they have Kilkenny listed as 5'4". I'm sorry, 5'7", 154 pounds. He looks a little bigger than that.
I think he might be. I know he's awfully tough.
North Brunswick, who has yet to generate any type of offensive drive, will take over on their own 30-yard line, trailing 21-0, and really in need of getting something to go.
Grady is out of the game now.
Grady comes to the sideline, so Miller will be the feature back, if you will. Solheimer looking pass off the hands of his intended receiver. That was number 25, Convery.
And he may have heard the footsteps of Kilkenny right there. Kilkenny's, as I said, has been very aggressive. And right up on him there, the ball, forcing the ball to bounce off Convery's hands.
Phil, you have number 72 for the Bears, Jeremy Fisher, 6'2", 236, playing up as a up linebacker, right in the middle.
I'll tell you, it's a perfect size for the pros.
I'll tell you.
That was my size when I played. Clock stops with the timeout. 6:46 showing before halftime. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Ball sitting at their own 30-yard line. They put Sipot way out left. And Silheimer lined up against the tackle. So you can see what kind of evening this young man's having. And he's dragged down from behind.
What a play.
Just ripped
Lorenzo.
He took a blocker with him that was twice his size and just tore down the quarterback.
And Dan Lorenzo, I tell you, and again, I think you look at when you see somebody jerk somebody down like that, you got to think about the conditioning they did in the preseason there to prepare for this. This is a much stronger team physically. I mean, from weight room working, and I think it shows.
Loss of 9. It brings up 3rd and 19. North Brunswick moving backward on this drive. Seilheimer puts Hall out to the right and Grady out left. Quarterback draw, and he's got nowhere to go.
He's caught. So it looks like the Bears again are going to get good field position.
Fourth down.
They have had the ball 4 times, and they have scored in 3 drives.
And for Jeremy Seilheimer, you got a feel for him a little bit. And everything receiver last year, thrust into the position of quarterback this year, and having a tough time tonight.
Tangway and Kolheim awaiting the punt. Almost blocked. We're going to have a roughing the kicker.
Sure is. Now, that would be is that a 15-yarder?
It's an automatic, I believe.
Is it an automatic?
First down, I believe.
Okay.
Hagan couldn't hold up.
And the thing about it, he was there to block the ball. Somehow just didn't get any. If he would have got parts of the ball, then it wouldn't have been a penalty. He did not get any parts of the ball and just sort of ran into the kicker.
Well, Phil, you find yourself, you have no angle and you're right on top of the kicker. Then I think that's where Hagan found himself.
All right, Marcus Borden has the same question I have. Is it an automatic first down? Phil says yes. I saw a college game this past week in which they marked it off, but he does say first down. But they didn't. It wasn't an automatic first down in the colleges.
Well, I can tell you this: between college pros and high schools, there's a lot of different rules. And with as crazy as Pro Bowl is going, trying to make the game more exciting, I can't keep up with anything.
Well, I'll bring you up to date then, Phil. It's 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. North Brunswick catching a break there on the roughing the kicker penalty. And they'll get the ball back.
Boy, they sure needed one, too.
Seilheimer just having a hell of a time back there.
Boy, one back for them.
And again, looking to do something, and he's going to create it himself.
I'll tell you, showed a little speed there, showed a little action, running for his life, really. Not much blocking there, saw a gap there, took it and turned it upfield and picked up a good 6 yards.
Tripped up by Jermaine, who is a 5'11", 171-pound junior. good mixture of seniors and juniors for this East Brunswick team. And a couple of sophomores are playing as well.
Phil, I could be wrong, but we have a timeout, North Brunswick, but I'm kind of sensing a little disheartening setting in on the North Brunswick side.
Well, you know, when you're trying stuff and nothing's working, and you know you're being beaten up front, you know, if you go back to attempt to pass, you're being smothered, and if you try sweeps, they're coming up on you. There comes a point in time, and I realize we're still just in the first half. When you're out in the field, you know when somebody's taking it to you. Right now, the Bears are taking it to them.
Well, we have 4:58 remaining before halftime. Opening night here of the 1994 season, East Brunswick and North Brunswick. Jimmy, maybe we'll take a look at the schedule for East Brunswick.
I would like to take a look at the schedule, but before I do that real quickly, I'd like to go back and correct myself about the last time East Brunswick won its opening season game. It was actually 1985, and you guys might remember that as the infamous, 1984 was the Brick Township game, and Brick was coming into that game as the #1 team. 1985 was the game at Brick Township.
That's the one we remember.
Down, yeah. But as far as the schedule is concerned, okay, Amboy will come to town, so East Brunswick opens up with 2 home games. Then they will be at Bishop Bar, October 7th. That will be a 7:30 p.m. game, followed by another away game at J.P. Stevens. So I guess the schedule will be sort of kind to the Bears for the first 4 games.
Well, different because and I'll talk about it.
Salheimer, 2nd and 4 from his own 41.
Ooh.
And he's dropped. I think we're going to have an offside. Saipod, I think, was a little bit early on the count.
Once again, Lorenzo blowing in there.
Right. East Brunswick finding the holes. And if that is an offside against North Brunswick, it surely will be refused.
Phil, I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
Being a strategist that you are, you have Saipod. He's a big boy. Lorenzo is, no one's stopping this kid. Do you put Saipod there to at least slow him up before he goes out for a pass, or?
Well, Saipod is part of your offense there. I mean, you can't use defense to stop defense there. I mean, the whole idea is somebody's still got to catch the ball. They've practiced getting the ball to him, and it's his job to get out. They got to just make it happen quicker.
3rd down. 15 for North Brunswick. Ball on their own 36.
Clock has 2nd down, but it is 3rd.
Silheimer looking over the middle and had Saipod in a flag, and he was held. And
there goes the flag now. Now it's coming. A little late, wouldn't you say, guys?
I actually threw it early, Jim.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we'll have defensive holding against East Brunswick.
So North Brunswick's sort of making its way down the field, courtesy of East Brunswick's mistakes.
And you see Nick Spadafino, defensive coordinator, trying to settle the defense down there. Basically, he's letting them know, listen, we don't need those silly mistakes because we're doing the job. Let's not help them, fellas.
It'll be an automatic 1st down as the ball moves now to the North Brunswick 45-yard line. So North Brunswick gaining more yardage on penalties than on offensive plays. And certainly if you're North Brunswick, you want something on the scoreboard before halftime.
Oh,
4:25 showing.
Well, the offense certainly is getting a little bit of a rest here.
Salheimer has Grady in the backfield with him. Gives it to Grady. Grady off the left side. Picks up about 4 before he's taken down.
And I don't think we can call Mark Lorenzo's name again, and he's playing a super game. Seems to be in on everything. We had Lenny May just in on everything earlier in the game, and Lorenzo has picked up from there.
2nd down and 6. The Raiders right at midfield. They trail 21-0. 3:40 remaining, 2nd quarter. Home opener for the East Brunswick Bears. Salheimer looks to his left, throws it over the head of Convery.
Well, he's been high on his last couple of passes.
He's been high on it because he's been rushed, and once again, off the hands there, because Kilkenny's right there as well.
And North Brunswick not trying anything, tricky, just trying to connect with that quick pass, good for 5-6 yards.
And the Bears knew this would be coming. I talked to Harry Mars. He knew that they were a 3-step setup team offensively, and what they had to do is put the pressure on him, and that's what the Bears have done today. Not allowed him to set up comfortably because there's been constant pressure on him.
The proverbial big third down play for North Brunswick, and I think we're going to have an official time.
Boy, we've had an awful lot of officials times. What is this?
I never saw so many guys have trouble buckling a chin strap.
Well, it's all about fundamentals, gentlemen. You got to teach the basics. Buckle the chin strap this way.
It's important, that's for sure. All right, we'll wind it up and do it one more time. 3rd and 6. Miller and Grady in the backfield. Sipot to the right. This is Grady. And Grady's going to go nowhere near the first down marker.
It's a curious play, is it not? 3rd and long.
Element of surprise they were hoping for.
No, I think the Bears want to have one more opportunity here with a little over 3 minutes to go.
Okay, Sean Daly shot in there first and slowed him down, and of course Dan Lorenzo came to finish him off.
And North Brunswick will punt with a 4th and 5.
Well, you have a well-rested offense.
Kohlheim goes back as the single receiver. Line drive off Kohlheim's hands, picks it up, goes to his left, breaks one tackle, still on his feet, needs a block to get outside, and brings it up close to midfield. What a return.
I tell you, just a fine athlete, and you can see by that ability there, Kohlheim would be fine at any position there.
Yes, he would.
He's an all-conference as a sophomore defensive back, and showing just brilliant moves there, fine speed. He could be an outstanding receiver and a fine running back as well.
Well, I think that was a line drive punt, and it was low enough so that it may have gotten in the lights, and I think Kohlheim lost that. But
all right, they're going to say Kohlheim stepped out of bounds at the 47, but it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears. They have 2:47 to work with.
They're going to have to advance the ball pretty quickly, so we should watch the receivers. Agajipatosho is on the left side, Tangway right, and there's 2 other. We got 4 on the line.
Kolakowski out there on the right as well. Sabatino still on his feet, close to the 50-yard line.
And isn't that typical of Marcus Board to do something like that? Put out 4 wide receivers and then put it right up the pipe.
Well, we've seen that for a number of years. David McCracken, number 56, linebacker, in on the tackle there. And North Brunswick has some people playing right now, and they're just getting worn down now.
Clock ticking, 2:20 remaining before half. 2nd and 8 for East Brunswick. Ball just shy of midfield. 3 receivers to the right. Kohlheim, a little screen out to Kolakowski, but
Sipot using that side. Well, that's not Sipot.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Number 91, he was the one.
He's up there to knock that ball down.
Now, he at least made a wall that Kohlheim had trouble throwing over.
So it'll bring 3rd down. The clock stops with the incompletion.
Trips right.
3 receivers again to the right. Kohlheim will roll, keeps the ball, trying to get to the outside and is tripped up.
And again, David McCracken in on the tackle there, doing a fine job at the linebacker there. Just did trip up Kohlheim to keep him from going for long yardage.
4th down.
Well, okay. Marcus elects to punt, as well he should.
Clock is moving, 1:45. Bears on top, 21-0.
Now, North Brunswick has exhausted its 3 timeouts, so they can't stop the clock. So East Brunswick should take its time.
And Kohlheim coming off the field a little gingerly there.
Yes, he is.
Actually limping. We'll keep an eye on that.
I saw the 2nd-string quarterback for East Brunswick, Scott Hops, who was a 6-foot sophomore, warming up before, so he would be the one that would come in.
East Brunswick in punt formation. Great punt. Fielded by Seilheimer. And he'll be taken down at the 25-yard line.
Okay, Aji Patosho slowed him down, didn't wrap, and fortunately didn't cost him.
And so with 1:11 showing, North Brunswick will try to do something before halftime.
Now the Bears know they're going to probably, in all likelihood, try to put it in the air. And I said with that 3-step situation, they're putting the constant pressure on them. You might look for quick hitters, quick passes by.
Or a little screen.
All right, the clock is running, so East Brunswick has its 3 timeouts. Let's see if-
Seilheimer sees the whole right side open,
I'll tell
takes
you.
advantage of it. He's got the first down, but the clock is moving, 41 seconds.
All right, well, that
And I believe North Brunswick only has 1 timeout remaining. They have no timeouts.
Anthony Gerbovac coming up with perhaps a touchdown-saving tackle. Of course,
well, I had thought that the Bears might want to stop the clock themselves, but that was a first down, so I think they're just going to be quite content to go off the field 21-0. Clock again stops.
Timeout. They had 1 more timeout. I thought I was right.
I think this is an official timeout, John. I might be wrong, but they're conversing with each other.
Oh, you could be right, Jim. I don't see the coaches allowed on the field yet.
All righty. Well, they're looking for a player.
excuse me.
I hope they're not looking for a football.
All right, the official's talking to Bill Pellegrino. Oh, I'm glad I got that right.
First game of the season, you're allowed.
It could be anything. I mean, this is a group of South River officials.
That's right, it could be anything.
Does the stands?
What time is the wood open till? Anything. You're right, Phil.
No, it could be anything.
Well,
Pretty lively discussion going on.
Yes, there is.
They may have lost track of how many timeouts North Brunswick had.
Well, they should have asked me. But anyway,
They.
I think what they were doing, Pellegrino has the earphones, and they may have been talking with the official who has the game clock, who's in the press booth.
Well, they have a veteran, Chet Zdrowski there, who's one of the best.
Oh, you're right, Jim. It was a clock issue. They're saying 10 seconds will be added to the clock, giving North Brunswick actually 30 seconds rather than 20. That'll stop the clock.
So about, what, 5 went off there? So we got 25?
About. And they'll start the clock up again once we hit 20 seconds to go.
All right.
Chris Beatty doing a good job there, making sure that pass didn't get off.
All right. I'm looking at Kolheim. He seems to be okay. He's walking. Well, he's sort of standing still right now, but doesn't seem to be favoring that leg.
2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Ball on their own 38. They have 3 receivers to the left. Seilheimer running for his life. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Clock showing 15 seconds.
And counting.
I think they're going to let it go and go into the locker room.
You betcha, that's it. Well, guys, have we seen East Brunswick play a better quarter in quite a while?
Well, it's been a while, but they certainly do look good as the half comes about with the Bears on top, 21-0. Teams will take a rest, and so will we. And with a rather comfortable lead, the Bears will go into the locker room. North Brunswick obviously having to rethink their strategy. And when they come back on the field, we'll be back with them. Well, we want to welcome you back to the second half of this East Brunswick-North Brunswick home opener. And the Bears are on top 21-0 as we get ready to start the third quarter. And Jimmy, give us a little bit of the stats, if you will.
It was a rather dominant half for East Brunswick, as the score would indicate. And as we mentioned, Greg Kohlheim with 5 rushes, one for 35 yards, another for 40 yards, and another for 32 yards, all of which led to scores. And he finishes with 108 yards rushing for one half. Sermonello, who scored twice, one from 5 yards out and 1 yard out, was a workhorse back, and he had 32 yards on 7 carries. And Mark Sabatino had 2 carries for 9 yards. Kohlheim 2 for 4 from the air, both catches by Jay Tangway, one for 26 yards and one for 16 yards. I don't have the first downs, but East Brunswick clearly leads in that department, and the East Brunswick defense was outstanding.
Frank, if you're Coach Policastro, what do you do at halftime with your team trailing 21-0?
I'll be frank if you want me to be, John. But I'll tell you seriously that what you got to do is tell your team that there's another half here. We quite didn't get anything accomplished there. We're not getting off on the ball as well as we should. We want to get out there, establish something very quick, and have some success early on. Take whatever the Bears are giving us. If they're letting you throw underneath, do that. I think that you'll probably might see them go back to the running game again and try to establish something there, and then mix it in with passes as they pick up 3 or 4 yards.
Well, one thing obvious to me was that Miller and Convery were really not noticed at all in the first half.
Right.
And you can't give Grady or count on Grady the entire game.
Well, you can't count on Grady, but again, Selheimer just has had no time whatsoever. This team has been very well scouted, and the Bears have kept the pressure up on him. And Selheimer, again, he's just a first-year quarterback, doesn't know whether he's coming or going.
Well, East Brunswick will kick off to start this third quarter. And North Brunswick will have an opportunity to at least try to get something going on offense.
That's right. They deferred to the second half, and they desperately need the ball as many times as they can to see if they can catch up. It's going to be difficult, though.
Tangway, short kick this time. It'll be taken by one of the up men at the 35-yard line. I'm sorry, at the 25, and he gets up to the 35. And that's where North Brunswick will start this third quarter.
Well, the East Brunswick defense did its job. They were all over the place. And, boy, how many times did we mention Dan Lorenzo's name?
And Lenny May, who just made the tackle there. I mean, all of East Brunswick defense is playing good ball, but Lorenzo and May have been forces tonight.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Ball just shy of the 35-yard line, their own 35. They come out in that I formation. Grady, the featured back.
There goes Saipot.
Saipot will switch over to strong side to the right. This is Grady once again, and he gets to the line of scrimmage and no more.
Well, it seems like first of all, the East Brunswick line is doing its job and not allowing itself to be pushed back, and then the linebackers are left with the easy pickings after that.
You're right. Paul Dumas filling in there after the line slowed him down. Dumas came in to load the boom to stop the play.
2nd and 10. They'll leave Grady as the sole setback. And that is he with the ball, still on his feet.
Wow.
And struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage.
And I'll tell you what, he didn't get any yards out of that, but that was a fine effort. He was hit 3 times before he went down.
But the point is he didn't get any yards, Jim, and we talked about the fact that they're going to come out and try to reestablish the running game, and they just haven't quite been able to do that. Now they're in a 3rd and long situation, and you know the Bears are going to be coming at them. If they have a screen, you're right, Jim, it may not be a bad spot to try it.
We're going to call it 3rd and 10 from the 35. Miller to the left, Hall out to the right with Saipot. Salheimer dropping, being pressured, and he's not going anywhere. In fact, he's going to be dropped for a 5-yard loss.
What do you got? That was Sean Daly, one of the players in on.
Chris Beatty's, again, slowed him down initially, and then, of course, the rest of the defenders came on. But Selheimer having a very difficult time, not able to find anything anywhere.
All right, so one question is answered. Kohlheim is out there as one of the deep backs. He was limping a little at the end of the first half.
The punt will be fielded by Tangway at the 40. And will be taken down immediately at the 41. And East Brunswick will go on offense. They lead 21-0.
Okay, Adam Davis in on the tackle there, and the Bears again will come out to try to get their offense going. And really, they've been able to do just about anything they want to do.
And I think one other thing, Phil, is they've had good field position to start drives every time they've had the ball.
Aji goes to the left. Tangway goes to the right as they stay in that wishbone or flex offense. Kohlheim keeps it, got the left side, plenty of running room, picks up about 8.
Good yards.
And you got Nick Pappas, the defender there, making a tackle on Kohlheim.
All right, Kohlheim's limping again. Watch it now. He's favoring that knee.
Well, again, I point, all this is a read here, but I think I might back off. You know, I just don't want him, I think, at this juncture. Here's a game that's out of reach here. I don't know how much you want to really run him, particularly if he's limping at this juncture.
Right.
2nd and 2 from the midfield line. Inside handoff, Sabatino quickly. He's got the first down.
Okay, that was a counter play and a predetermined play that time. No reading on his part. He knew exactly where it was going. Sabatino picked up the first down.
First down, East Brunswick, as they move into the North Brunswick end of the field. East Brunswick having their way on that line of scrimmage.
Indeed, they are.
1st and 10, ball spotted at the North Brunswick 47-yard line. Kohlheim gives it inside.
Wow.
Whoa.
And this is, look at that run. Sermonello, and he gets inside the 30 with the first down.
Good 16-yard run by Frank Sermonello.
I'll tell you, just hitting that hold rather explosively there and keeping those legs running. You young backs that are out there, you want to do just like Frank did there. Once you get hit, you don't stop. Keep the legs churning.
Ball will be spotted on the North Brunswick 29-yard line, and East Brunswick content to keep it on the ground, and no reason to change that strategy.
Number 87 wide for East Brunswick is Keith Meggiolaro.
Their first possession of this 3rd quarter. Kohlheim, a little counter inside.
We have a new back here.
Wow. That's number 20 for East Brunswick. Wow. He's going to go in for the score.
Well, whoever he is, what a debut.
And that is number 20. That's
Quan. Right.
Matt Quan.
Boy, did he take off? Did he have the Jets?
And he did blow through there. I think he caught us all off guard because he hadn't been in the backfield. And
man,
29-yard touchdown score for Matt Quan. Makes it 27-0. East Brunswick looking to pick up their 28th point.
Tremendous blocking there, by the way. I think we just have to mention that Oliver Hagan was in on that. Fisher again.
And Beatties with his streak intact makes it 28-0.
Bill Besky, number 79, was also doing the job. Boy, I'll tell you what. Well, if North Brunswick had any glimmer of wanting to come back, I think that probably did something right there to him.
Well, but you know, if they're anything like the Paulo Castro tradition here, they're not going to give up. They're just, but they are overmatched. Make no doubt, mistake about it.
Now, we made an observation, Phil, about Kohlheim limping, and maybe you said that they don't want to do too many things. You think this is a comfortable enough lead that they can take him out, perhaps?
Well, I don't know that he needs to be taken out. I just think what type of plays that are being used. You don't want him taking shots unnecessarily.
Okay.
He is the franchise, to be quite frank, and you just can't afford to lose him. But Marcus Borden hasn't been one to baby any players. If you're there to play, you play.
Well, and the other thing we've alluded to several times this evening is East Brunswick has not had a scrimmage, and he might want to give Kohlheim that work. All right, Beatty's going to kick off. They're going to give Tangway a break here. This young man's showing a strong leg. Hits a line drive. Picked up by one of the upbacks for North Brunswick. and goes out of bounds. That was number 41. That was Mike Denister.
Mike Denaster, that's a New Brunswick name.
Denaster, I'm sorry.
New Brunswick, North Brunswick name.
Okay, Jimmy's old alma mater, that old area there. He knows all those names.
Oh, yeah. His father, Jimmy, played for New Brunswick High School.
1st and 10 for the Raiders. They trail 28-0 with 7:34 remaining in the third quarter.
And not very much left for North Brunswick to do, but to try to get the running game or a quick hitter to the tight end or a slant into the receivers. Not much else you can do.
Selheimer puts Miller to the left. Grady is in the I formation. A quick pitch to him.
Ooh.
And this young man is dropped at the 30-yard line for a loss.
I'll tell you, Teddy Wright coming up to lay a lick on there. And Teddy Wright, a nice young fella, coming up from his safety position there.
Loss of about 5 yards, Phil. It's 2nd and 15.
And of course, Teddy Wright filling in for the leading tackler for these Bears last year, Whalen, who's out with the shoulder injury, Rich Whalen.
North Brunswick from their own 31. Salheimer gives it to Grady. He slips and is tackled as he goes down.
And I tell you, John, I don't hate to belabor a point. The plight for North Brunswick is this here. You have to do something to counterbalance how aggressive East Brunswick is being. And if you haven't practiced for that, you just can't make it up right here and there. They're being very aggressive. You have to do something to get them off balance. That comes in the way of a screen or a misdirection or something like that. And the Raiders don't seem to be prepared to do that.
Well, they're facing a 3rd and 15 now from their own 30. And really have not generated any offense to speak of this evening. And East Brunswick's loaded for bear. Excuse the pun. Salheimer puts it up deep, and the only one close was Kilkenny.
Well, that was a timing pattern that wasn't even close. East Brunswick was well prepared.
Well, I go back to the point. I mean, that pass was intended for Grady. Everything is for Grady, and Miller and Convery are just not being used.
You got to do. I'm surprised. I was told Convery would be one of the primary receivers here, unless the defense is as such, they're just taking it away from him.
North Brunswick in punt formation again. A shank, if you will, off the side of the foot of the punter. East Brunswick's going to be near midfield.
And down by Harry Morris, putting the old pose there. He certainly handled that ball better than I remember him in his East Brunswick days.
That's right.
Well, he's handling that offensive line really well, I'll tell you what.
He's done a good job with the offensive line. He really has.
Looking good, and a very despondent North Brunswick team at this juncture. Sort of trots onto the field.
The Bears will have it right at midfield. 6 minutes showing on the clock, third quarter. They are in the lead, 28-0.
And Colheim is in the game. But I'm like you, Phil. I'd be surprised if he tries anything where he keeps the ball himself.
Sermonello right up the middle. And he's had daylight all night there as he gets the first down.
Another sign of North Brunswick's fatigue is the way they're tackling.
Right, just dragging people around. And we've been mentioning Dave McCracken's name for North Brunswick, number 56. And he's usually been leaning forward, given that first hit. This time he's dragged. So you're right, Jimmy. Just the other side of the halftime, and they seem to be worn out at this juncture.
Chains are moved to make it 1st and 10. The Bears from the North Brunswick 40. Colheim gives it to Sabatino. Sabatino pushes the pile. He's still on his feet.
Oh, good Lord. Marcus Gordon's going to like that videotape.
I'll tell you, and that's foot action right there.
Looked like a rugby scrum.
But we're right on things, too. Colheim isn't doing anything where he's potentially putting himself in a position to take shots. He's pretty much handing off to his backs and letting them do the job because they can do the job right now.
2nd and 3 as Sabatino picks up 7. Ball at the North Brunswick 33. 5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Colheim inside Sabatino, first down as he moves to the 27-yard line.
Well, Jimmy, you kept on mentioning the fact that Marcus Gordon was bemoaning the fact that he didn't have that last scrimmage to work on timing and things that he wants to. That's just exactly what he's doing here now.
Yep.
Working on certain plays, giving his backs some extra work.
Except this one counts. Okay.
1st and 10 for the Bears. Content to grind the yardage out.
Wow.
There goes Sermonello again.
Ooh.
Still on his feet, inside the 10-yard line. And Phil, this kid's hitting the holes quick, boy.
The thing about it, he's hitting the holes quick, and again, you got to point out to the young people out there that are backs and whatnot, it's not so much the size, but the heart that you have. If you have the heart, you built low to the ground, and you want to continue to move those legs, you can be a ball player. And you're seeing several good ball players here today.
Another 1st down for East Brunswick. In fact, it'll make it 1st and goal from the 8-yard line.
Well, I wanted to get my first look at the Old Bridge Knights football uniforms, and I'm looking at them. Right down below us is a part of the team anyway. They're dressed in a dark purple, I guess it is.
There goes Quan, his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Wow.
And that's Quan, 2 touchdowns on 2 carries.
Wow.
Makes it 34 now for the Bears.
Well, I'm having trouble keeping up on this one now.
Well, it's a blowout. And Jim, you mentioned Old Bridge, seeing the Old Bridge players down there. I'll tell you, they're really in a no-win situation. They're expected to win everything and beat up on everybody. And if they don't, it's going to be a letdown.
Well, they certainly got the charges, and they certainly got the coach. Bob DeMarco.
That's for sure.
Beatties for the extra point to make it 35-0. And he's good once again.
I'll tell you, this guy has got a run here. He's got 5 extra points.
Well,
Good.
it's just amazing how year after year East Brunswick is able to come up with such a solid kicker.
Yeah.
We see other teams that struggle with the kicking game, and no matter what, Marcus Gordon is able to come up with a solid kicker year after year.
Hey, we were talking about Old Bridge. I think we ought to mention that November 24th, Thanksgiving Day, East Brunswick will be meeting the what's their nickname? The Knights, I guess it's called. And it's going to be a Thanksgiving Day contest. First time that these two teams have met on Turkey Day. But boy, isn't it? I'll tell you what. Just this game tonight and the way East Brunswick is playing, and of course we know the quality of the opponents that they're going to be facing this year. It really puts an added luster to what we can be looking at for this year.
I give Marcus Gordon and the East Brunswick staff a lot of credit for taking on Old Bridge for the Thanksgiving Day game. Again, it's going to be some while. I mean, clearly Old Bridge has an advantage with the numbers and bringing coaching staffs together.
I'll tell you what, I think Marcus Gordon was very smart because that game occurs after state qualification.
Beatties with the kickoff. Fine kick this time.
It's over Grady's head, isn't it?
Grady will let it bounce, and it'll go into the end zone and come out to the 20. And North Brunswick just can't catch a break this evening.
Yeah, you've got the momentum clearly in East Brunswick's favor. They're just overwhelming this team.
We still have 3:57 left to go in the 3rd quarter. The Bears are on top 35-0.
Well, Sumernello has picked up a lot of yardage in the second half. And as we mentioned, Matt Quan, 2 carries, 1 for 29 yards, 1 for 8 yards, both resulting in touchdown runs. Colheim hasn't put the ball up in the air this half.
Sailheimer brings him out, and they put Miller in the backfield for only the 2nd time this evening. And they put Grady out wide left.
Got to throw.
Sailheimer trying to pass, has Hall on the right side. He'll pick up close to 5.
And Aji Batosho and on the tackle there.
Now, was that a marker? I assume it was. It didn't look like it was a flag.
They marked his forward progress.
Okay. That's exactly what it is.
So 2nd and 5 as North Brunswick operates from their own 25-yard line.
All right, now do we take him out, Phil? 35-0.
I don't think you're going to see that happen.
Okay.
Same formation for North Brunswick. Salheimer running for his life, looking for someone. He's going
I'll
down.
tell you, Chris Beatty once
Yes,
again.
he was.
Beatty's once again in on the tackle there, and he's played a fine game as well.
Beatty's just a sophomore, by the way.
So with the loss, it'll move it back now for North Brunswick.
So some fine sophomores getting an
I'll
opportunity
tell you,
to
you're
play.
right. Chris Beatty's 5'11", 178 pounds. By the time he's going to a junior, he's going to be about 210 easily, I think. So
Third and about 12 from the 17. North Brunswick having a difficult time of keeping that East Brunswick defense off of Salheimer. Clock down to 2:25 here in the third quarter. Salheimer gives it off to Miller. Miller's first carry as he gets up close to the 20. And it'll be a punting situation once again for the Raiders.
I'll take a look at the field position that East Brunswick is going to get.
and we see Colheim going out there for the punt return.
Okay.
Tangway and Colheim back deep to receive this punt. Very high, short kick. And East Brunswick gets a good bounce and will have the ball in North Brunswick territory.
Sort of interesting. An East Brunswick player was actually not off the field. Jeremy Fisher was sort of jogging off, and they could have been flagged, but the officials ignored it.
They want to keep that clock going.
Yep.
First and 10 with 1:41 remaining in the third quarter.
So pretty much a starting lineup, although we do see Quan back there.
And you can expect to see basically dives. They know they can do it. They know they can control the ball.
Right.
I'd be surprised if you see much of anything else,
Yes.
but who knows?
First and 10 for the Bears. From the North Brunswick 43, Colheim keeps, turns the right corner, he's got plenty of room, needs a block on the outside. Sidesteps two men and goes out of bounds.
And I'll tell you, shows you just how smart we are, gentlemen. Colheim's in there and he's running now.
Well, quite frankly, I don't like it. I really don't.
The point is, the game is 4 quarters. This is the first game of the year. I think they're off next week, are they not?
No, they're not. They played Perth Amboy.
They play Perth.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. They
You're
are.
right.
It's the
Next
30th.
week.
Yeah.
Marcus wants to
Okay.
get his troops some work. He wants to get them some work in game situations there. If they get some bumps and bruises, they got some time for them to heal there.
We had a penalty on the play.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Having that week off does make things quite a bit different here, because you have that extra preparation time, extra time to heal. Well, it's a legal procedure.
Procedure against East Brunswick. So in effect, that'll bring the ball back and move them back 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage. Down remains at first down. 15 now this time.
May will come in as the tight end.
Tangway wide left. This is Sabatino slicing his way through the North Brunswick defense almost to the point of getting it first down. Just shy of it.
12 good ones. Well, I don't have my calculator with me, so I'm not going to be able to add up all these rushes, but East Brunswick has not had to go in the air at all tonight. And yet we know they have good weapons in the air.
And I tell you, if you hear some wincing back here, it's not my normal woos, but my brother Max, who used to play in South Rivers Wishbone, and just for him to see a wishbone as much as he got hit in it, pains him. He sees the wishbone formation, and all of a sudden, he gets tremors.
Sabatino, I think he's got the first down as we near the end of the third quarter.
It's close.
And certainly Max was the star in the family. We know that.
Everyone but Phil.
Phil, did you even play? We've never heard your name. Well, it doesn't matter, I guess. And that'll do it. Third quarter over here at East Brunswick High School. The Bears with a very comfortable 35-0 lead over North Brunswick.
Oh boy.
And okay, and to amplify a little bit on what we're talking about continuing to let the players in there. They do have that week off, Jimmy. This is the first game. They didn't have that scrimmage that they wanted to. He wants to get his troops feeling some action in game conditions here. Granted, they are in total control of this game, and you got to guard against injuries, but you can't play scared neither. I think probably somewhere midway down in this quarter here, you'll probably see some changes take place.
Well, it makes good sense to get these kids as much playing time. These are good conditions. It's hot and it's humid tonight. This is better than being in 2-3 practices. So,
as we said, the Bears have North Brunswick tonight. They're off next week, and then Perth Amboy comes in.
And by the way, that same evening, Saraville will be playing Old Bridge. So that already an early season big game.
And we'll get ready to start the fourth and final quarter from East Brunswick High School as the teams switch sides of the field, and East Brunswick will be looking at a 1st and 10 from the North Brunswick 33.
Well, we do have a new quarterback now for the Bears, and that's Kilkenny.
Kilkenny, yes. David Kilkenny,
number 19.
And we saw him some at quarterback last year, and this is a young man that can fly also.
Can he? Now, again, he's only listed as 5'7", 154 pounds, but
he's got it. Steps up and rolls forward to the 30-yard line.
I'll tell you.
So he gets a couple.
Phil, in this offense, the reads for the quarterback are what primarily? Middle linebacker and end?
Well, no, they've always been the tackle initially on that first dive there. If that tackle moves a certain way, then you can give it to that guy diving into the line. After that, you come up and you read. Your next read is the linebacker there. He goes. If he comes up, you take it to him. If not, you pitch.
Kilkenny to Sermonello's having a career day tonight.
Whoa!
Wow. And knocks one guy down.
Look at this run.
I'll tell you, Robert Newhouse all over again. I tell you, the human bowling ball, and he's just blowing in there.
Oh Lord! Let's see. Now that one was worth.
Certainly a first down. The ball's inside the 10-yard line, or right on the 10.
26 yards for Frank Sermonello on that run.
And he was not going to be denied. Big night for Sermonello. First and goal actually from the 10. Number 6 for East Brunswick carrying, and that's Ricky Johnson.
Ricky Johnson go with the carry there, and Ricky picking up 3 yards there. And John, a young fella that you know.
Yes, I know Ricky.
When you think of Ricky Johnson, you think of nice kid.
Yeah, that's
as simple as that. Nice kid.
Good to see him out there.
Really.
Well, by the way, Frank Sermonello has 11 carries, and he has 104 yards. I have him over 100 yards, so we have 2 East Brunswick players that have rushed for 100 yards. I wonder when the last time that happened.
2nd and 5. Johnson actually picks up 5 yards. Inside handoff. And I looking to see who that was. And that's Sermonello. First time he got something less than 20 yards. Having a tremendous night tonight. So it'll bring up 3rd and goal, right on the 1-yard line.
And we see Tangway come back into the game here.
Clock down to 9:39 left in the game. Kilkenny inside, touchdown. Sabatino, number 33, with the score.
So a lot of people getting involved in the scoring tonight. Sermonello with 2, Guam with 2, Tangway, the touchdown reception. Sabatino, 1-yard run.
And Beatty's on to make it, looking for the 42nd point of the evening.
And this would be his 6th point after touchdown, and I have to think that that's treading in some record-breaking area.
Well, Jim, I got to think this is the biggest home opening win for East Brunswick.
Quite a long time. We know that.
Snap put down. Beatty's splits the uprights. 42-0 East Brunswick.
Still over 9 minutes to play in this 4th quarter. It's really East Brunswick has a from a scoring ratio, I think they're batting around 600 here for each drive.
Well, it's a different type of opener for East Brunswick. We talked about the fact that for years they played a lot of the tough Red Division teams and
Piscataway they used to open up against.
And out-of-conference teams as well that were super teams there. And then they usually came on strong at the end of the year, trying to make that state playoffs and whatnot. Now they got some teams in the beginning, different teams in the beginning of the year. Perth Amboy and Bishop R, I believe, after that.
Yeah.
They and I think that's just certainly a better chance for them to get out of the blocks here. And I think it may make a difference because a Marcus Borden team is known for building momentum and getting stronger at the end of the year.
I think the only misgiving when you open up against a team like North Brunswick is that I've been noticing in that power points for state playoff competition or qualification, they start to become very tight. And if you're going to play a Group 3 team like North Brunswick, you're lessening, and plus Bishop R is another.
But you certainly get more power points for a win than you do a loss, Jimmy.
That's for sure. Yep.
So that's another way of looking at it.
Yep. But they have Bishop R as their number 3 opponent, and I don't know where they come in as far as power points are concerned.
Beatties to kick this thing off. And a line drive kick. Fielded at the 15-yard line. And that's number 22. That's Jermaine Ruffin.
I tell you,
Jermaine Ruffin, I'm sorry.
John, I can't believe we're talking power points before the end of the first game already.
Actually, you really have to. You know that? I'll tell you what, it's that complicated. You not only look at how many power points that you get for winning games, but also every time you beat an opponent, okay, you look at their schedule for the rest of the year because that means additional power points.
Well, that's a little too complicated for us for the first game anyway. North Brunswick, looks like they have a new quarterback in there. I'm trying to pick up the number on the young man. Number 13, he calls a timeout.
Good
move. And that's Paul Kostick.
And I tell you, he must be a smart student because his very first play at quarterback, and he calls timeout. He saw something he didn't like, and he wasn't taking any chances.
They had 10 players on the field is what it was.
He saw the East Brunswick defense. That's why he called timeout.
Oh, boy.
But let's talk a little bit about from Joe Policastro Jr.'s view. Certainly, very tough game initiation to the Red Division here, and how his team's going to respond to this. They gotta understand in the Red Division they're going to see a lot of teams as strong as East Brunswick or stronger, and so it could be a very tough year for North Brunswick. After the Bears, they meet Bishop R, then J.P. Stevens and Piscataway, then Edison after that, so it doesn't get much easier for them.
The only breather is the last game against South Brunswick.
Jimmy, let me ask you, and maybe for the fans at home, North Brunswick petitioned to get into the Red Division, or they were placed into the Red Division?
Yeah, they really didn't have a choice about it. Quite frankly, it was a matter of other teams in the division not having as many students, and that automatically brought them down to the next level.
All right, Kostick now calling signal, steps back, looks to his left, ball's tipped away.
And I want to just clarify that a little bit more with the Madison Central, I believe, was in the Red Division, but now what happened was Cedar Ridge and Madison combined, so you have one team, and it left a vacancy in the White Division. And you got to.
And if you want to make it a little bit more confusing, news coming out just today, there's going to be 4 divisions, John. They're going to be moving in 1995. They're going to make 4 different divisions. So that's the GMC doing a lot of work there.
Kostick will try it again. 2nd and 10 from his own 29. Young man tries the second pass and has it knocked away.
He has the ball knocked away, and he's knocked down as well. And he seems to be trying these little out passes. Tried it to the left side the first time, came back to the right side. And I think if he comes back to the right side again, tries it, Kilkenny's been very close to picking off one.
Yeah, he's waiting.
And I think he's got his eye on things and may try to grab one here.
I imagine the Bears will be heading over to South Plainfield to see Perth Amboy open up against.
Nice cutback. Boom, and
wow.
Tim Achipatosho
takes down Ruffin at the 40-yard line.
I tell you, I almost wanted to give him 2 points for that on that takedown.
I'll give you 2 points for pronouncing the name. That was great.
And Ruffin picks up the first down, one of the rare first downs by this North Brunswick offense tonight. Jermaine Ruffin, number 44. I'm sorry, that's Kareem Peters, number 44. Kostic has it 1st and 10 from his own 40. 8:10 remaining in the game.
Oh,
wow.
Nice aggressive tackle there.
Lenny May.
Lenny May in on that one.
Peters hesitated, and that's all it took for May to track him down.
And I guess you can call this a May day because Lenny's been all over the field.
Yes, he has. As has that entire defense. They have been just outstanding. I think what bodes well for East Brunswick is while we can never depend on the offense to be as consistent as it has been tonight, that defense, though, looks like it's going to be the oar that really steers this ship this year.
2nd and 13. Ball resting on the North Brunswick 37. Kostic drops the ball and falls on top of it. This young man is just having a rough night.
And he had a receiver on a fly pattern down the left-hand side there. I think it was going to attempt to hit him. Never did get the ball off.
Clock continues to move, and that may be North Brunswick's best ally at this point. Third and 19. Kostic, short drop, puts it up deep, looking for Grady, overthrown.
Roger Batosha was down there.
And it'll bring up another punt situation for North Brunswick. Kolheim goes back with Tangway. And we haven't seen the reverse yet by East Brunswick on the punt.
The only reverse we have seen is North Brunswick going in the wrong direction.
They've had no need to try to fool.
Well, we're going to have another timeout here, it looks like. They're short players.
Yeah.
Somebody's missing.
Well, I'll tell you, the poor young coach, it's very frustrating. You can look at this game and talk about a lot of things. It still comes down to horses. I think the team that has the horses and whatnot, and meaning the talent, oftentimes is the team that gets the job done. Coaching certainly accounts for something, but you got to have some horses.
Now, I'm looking at the mascot down on the field, and
I don't see the
either
bear.
we have a new gender of bear or it's a combination of a bear and Barney. I'm not quite sure which.
I don't know. I have not seen
Maybe
the
we can get our
bear.
cameraman Peter to focus in on that. Peter, if you run out of things to do, there's a wonderful looking mascot down on the bottom of the field hill, but we'll check that out later.
Kolheim will field it at his own 40. Goes right, steps left, and is going to be pulled down.
And you almost want to say, please get out of bounds.
Yeah. So the Bears will bring, I assume, Kilkenny back out to run the offense.
That's number 90, Ziad Haig on the stop for the Raiders. It'll be 1st and 10 for the
Well, here we go again.
1-yard line.
I'm going to be thumbing through the record book here to see what we have in terms of offensive production because 42 points is a lot so far.
Well, East Brunswick ready. North Brunswick was not. Kilkenny gives it to number 40 for East Brunswick. And that's Dan Lorenzo. They put him on offense.
I'll tell you, he's been doing a fine job on defense. They decided to switch him to the other side of the line and let him show his talents there.
.550 remaining in the game, and officials take a timeout. They have an equipment problem. Convery going over to the sideline.
And Marcus Borden in Dan Lorenzo's face. Not quite sure why, but he's giving him an earful.
All right, 2nd and about 3 for the Bears. close to midfield. Kilkenny keeps, has
Caught.
nowhere to go, and is going to be dropped for a loss. Back to the original line of scrimmage.
And that was John Burns on the tackle there for the Raiders. As I said, the Raiders haven't given up. They're just overmatched.
Stop line, number 64, Mike Prasad for the Raiders. It'll be 3rd and 11 from the 40-yard line.
So it'll bring up 3rd and 11. The ball sitting at the East Brunswick 40. Kilkenny inside to Quan.
Now they're not going to get the first down there.
And so they'll have to punt it away. I'm sorry, that was Steve German, is it?
Jermaine.
Germain. Number 28 on that last carry.
Well, the only record I think
And
that
East Brunswick has to take a timeout. Short a few men.
I'm looking at, there's nothing here for extra points, and Beatties has 6 tonight, but if the Bears were to score again, and that would tie the 3rd largest victory margin of 48 set against Perth Amboy in 1981.
Okay, as you take a look on the field there, you see Marcus Borden about to enter the picture for the huddle there. And I tell you, you got to give Marcus a lot of credit. He is really one of the more respected coaches in all of the Middlesex County. Joe Policastro called him an offensive genius. And I think Marcus really gained a lot of respect for himself in Middlesex County with his development of the Snapple Bowl, the Middlesex County
game.
All-Stars against the Union County
Yes, it was
All-Stars.
Union County.
And he did just a fine job pulling that all together and also coaching the team to a tremendous victory.
And I would like to say that the most valuable player in that game was Kamishi Jackson from Monroe Township.
All right, East Brunswick back to punt. And a fair catch signal by North Brunswick, and he dropped the ball.
That's a free ball right there. It should be.
He fair caught it, and then he fumbled it.
Well, referee is not going to allow anything. I think he wants to get this game over with.
Alex Bagamary doing the proper thing.
Good punt that time by Eric Scholl. And North Brunswick will have it once again.
Well, we talked about how East Brunswick has dominated tonight. Phil, I mean, just exactly what do you feel that the Bears take away from this game, this 42-0 score so far?
Well, they wanted a game situation where they can use some execution. It has to be a confidence builder, but Marcus Borden won't let them fool themselves, won't give them a false sense of security. This is against North Brunswick, and again, as I mentioned before, a team that doesn't quite have the horses, a team that is clearly overmatched. Marcus will put that in proper perspective and be glad with the victory and move on to the next game.
Well, I tend to agree with you, although I'd like to think that this is an East Brunswick team that is quite different than the teams we've seen in the past number of years. I think they are very sharp.
Ooh.
Peters dropped in his own backfield.
They are very, very sharp on defense, one of the best defensive teams I've seen in quite a few years. We already know about the offensive horses that the team has, and I think we haven't really seen East Brunswick come out of the chutes the way they can. I mean, they've been so dominant running the ball. Colheim with over 100 yards, Sermonello with over 100 yards rushing. These are unofficial. And Colheim, we've seen the strength of his arm and the quality of his pass receivers. And I think the best is yet to come from this team, actually.
Lenny May in on that last tackle.
2nd and 15, a loss on the play. Costa gets it outside, and it's stolen by Kilkenny. Ball's on the ground, and I think North Brunswick still has it.
Types of things that you're able to do when you have this type of lead.
I'll tell you, Kilkenny, if I'm scouting this game and I'm watching Kilkenny, I'm preparing to try to burn him because he is so aggressive. He comes up so quickly on the ball that if I'm scouting this game, I'm going to try to take advantage of that.
And we hope that Mr. Kilkenny is listening in on the videotape for this game.
But he's playing a fine all-around game, and just what you want from a cornerback.
3rd and 21, North Brunswick now from their own 17. And Kostick pitches the ball back. And a few yards at best, and they'll be forced to punt. So with 2:50 and the clock running,
And the song playing, "We Will Rock You," and that's just what the Bears have done tonight.
Notice a lot more fan participation in this game tonight.
Well,
Phil?
you look for one thing. You look at the band there. New uniforms by the squad that I don't know what you call them. That comes along with the band. They look awfully nice. And as we heard, they're going to be playing in Giant Stadium, a game between the Giants and Pittsburgh. So I think a lot of that is engendered by the band itself.
fair catch by Kilkenny.
Good move by Kolheim there. He just dropped to a knee. Not wanting to risk injury or to actually even insult North Brunswick with a run back.
What do we call them? Color guards and
Band boosters.
band boosters.
Step squad.
Okay, they look awfully nice, and I think again a lot of the reason for the excitement here.
No, I meant the band boosters were the organization behind the band.
Oh,
and the
okay.
parents and friends. But you're right, Phil. They do look pretty
right.
snappy.
Another quarterback for East Brunswick, Justin Klein. That was the holder that we mistook for being the kicker. Well, he gets his opportunity to be in the spotlight now.
And
This
he's
2 minute
just a junior, 6'2", 150 pounds.
timeout for North Brunswick here. I have to believe this timeout is meant for things in the future and not for this game right here.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I didn't see any team charged with the timeout, and I assume they've not added a 2-minute timeout in the high school game, or have they?
No, it was North Brunswick.
It was
timeout.
North Brunswick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mark Zielinski is getting a welcome to the Red Division. You see him out on the field there, and again, a teammate of Joe Policastro Jr. at Columbia came over to help him with the defense, and a tough opening start, but things will get better for them, I'm sure.
Final 2 minutes of this game. Klein hands off to Johnson, and Ricky picks up about 6 yards.
I'll tell you, fine run by Ricky Johnson there.
Well, you certainly have to be pleased with what you've seen tonight, both offensively and defensively for East Brunswick. Where it leads, we're not sure, but you've got to be excited. First time in the last couple years that East Brunswick has put out a team with size, speed, and talent of this nature. And in the tough Red Division, it's going to be tested.
Whoops. Klein was just able to get that.
Yeah, Klein
handoff.
just got it into, I believe, Johnson.
Well, what happened is again, this is an offense where you read and whatnot. The quarterback decides who gets the ball or not. The fullback decided this time that I'm taking the ball, and that's what he did, just took the ball from the quarterback, even though the quarterback wasn't ready to give it up.
So, Jimmy, I assume North Brunswick's a full member of the Red Division for basketball as well and all the other sports?
That's not
or?
necessarily so.
Okay.
They do change according to the sport, and I don't think the Raiders are in the Red Division, but I'm not quite sure.
And I know you guys looked at me strange as if I knew not what I spake, but today's paper did talk about the GMC creating 4 divisions in 1995
Red, white, blue, and gold, huh? For football?
for football.
Interesting.
So there's a chance for you yet, Phil.
Well, I didn't know that. Let's just say there's 5 per division. I didn't know there was 20 teams in the GMC that play football. Unless they're going to bring some outsiders. We'll have to see about that one.
Union is coming. Ricky Johnson. And Ricky plows forward as the clock's down to 30 seconds.
I bet you that's the last play right there.
It should be. And what a tremendous opening night for the Bears.
I'll tell you, if you're out on the field right now and you don't want it to be the last player, if you've just gotten in the game and you're not talking about
That's
running
true.
the clock out, you want to get a play in where you can play.
Klein will bring him up with about 9 seconds to go in the game, and they may not even get this play off. 5 seconds. And they do. And that'll do it. Our final from East Brunswick High School, the Bears 42, North Brunswick Raiders nothing, and a shutout to start the 1994 season. And I couldn't think of a better way to start a season.
I agree. I think if East Brunswick coach Marcus Borden had mapped out what he would want to accomplish in an opening game, offensively and defensively, he got his wish. It was mission accomplished.
No doubt about it. Again, we keep talking about what a game like this does and what do you get out of it. But he's got to be extremely pleased. They've worked hard all summer. They had double sessions camps to get ready, and today they were ready, so they got to be pleased with themselves.
Well, the Bears will be off next week, and then they come back home here to take on the Panthers of Perth Amboy, and we'll be with you here on Channel 8 to bring you that game. But we're pleased to start off the season with a big win and a shutout at that. So for Phil Hill and Jim Allinder, I'm John Meggiolaro saying good night, and thanks for being with us.